When you think of truly amazing audio experiences, who do you think of? Maybe it's Bose, maybe it's Sony, but almost certainly it's probably Sennheiser, because they make some incredible headsets, especially their HD series is kind of world renowned for being just frankly amazing. And so when I heard that they had some wireless gaming headsets that are supposedly just as good, you can see why I jumped at the chance to review them. Sadly though, I don't think they're all they're cracked up to be. So let me break these down into what are essentially the main parts, the main functions of a set of headphones, and we're going to start off with the audio and listening experience. Really, these headphones are fantastic. They're honestly a brilliant listening experience that I can highly recommend to anyone. They are incredibly crisp and clear, they're well-rounded with decent bass, mids and highs, and also have very good resolution across the range too. Now the bass isn't quite as punchy as I might like it to be. It's not the most kind of feel it in your soul kind of bass, but overall it is a very clear sound profile, and so I very much enjoyed listening to them. Now I should mention that I couldn't really discern much of a difference between these two headphones, and I can't say that they are any better than my Audio-Technica ATX-G1WLs that I use as a sort of daily driver pair, but they're certainly a great experience nonetheless. Next up is the microphone, which honestly, especially considering its size, is pretty underwhelming. I'll give you a quick sound test of each of the headsets, and I'll even throw in a comparison to my Audio-Technica ATX-G1WLs, as they sit actually perfectly bang in the middle of the price points between these two headsets.
So here is what the cheaper of the two, the GSP 370, sounds like in terms of its microphone. Now this sounds pretty compressed to me, and overall doesn't really match up to even some budget headphones in terms of audio quality and clarity. Sounds a bit compressed, but I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And here is what the more expensive of the two, the GSP 670, sounds like with its microphone. In theory, it's a very similar, if not identical microphone, and so ends up sounding pretty similar, still a little bit on the compressed side, and there might be some better options for the money. And this is what my Audio-Technica ATX-G1WL sound like. For me, these are a lot clearer and crisper, with a little bit more noise than the Sennheiser options, but of course a lot clearer than the Sennheiser options too.
So as you heard, both of the Sennheiser headsets sounded pretty compressed and honestly not that much better than a lot of cheap gaming headsets. Compare that to the Audio-Technicas, which sounded a lot clearer and closer to true to life, even if they did have a bit more noise in the background. It's pretty strange to see the Sennheisers doing relatively badly here, especially considering the microphone's gargantuan size. I should note that both of these headsets were running with none of the software suite additions or filters running. With that said, I couldn't really discern any difference between the warm and the clear filter presets with the gaming suite software, so take that as you will. The one thing the Sennheiser headsets do have over the Audio-Technicas, in terms of their microphone anyway, is that because they are a boom mic that can be lifted up, they actually mute the microphone when you reach a certain point when you lift the microphone up, which is definitely nice to see. And then there's comfort. Now the 670s are pretty bulky, they sit incredibly wide on your head and are honestly pretty heavy for a set of gaming headphones. Now for their size, they do have a few extra features, including more adjustability in the ear cup position, although I should add no way to lay them flat for say easy transports, and also a couple of sliders on the top of the headband that allow you to change the tension of the headset, which is actually pretty unique and does give a little bit extra comfort depending on what you prefer. Now I should add that make sure you don't change those sliders while you have the headset on, as you will literally be pulling your hairs out if you do, as the mechanism isn't fully shielded. But either way, I would also say that the comfort level on this just isn't great in general. This headset seems to be designed for much smaller heads than mine, and meant that I had to adjust the headset all the way out to basically fully extended, which is something I don't normally have to do. When it was fully extended, I basically had the issue where effectively it was cutting off circulation below my ears. It really felt incredibly uncomfortable to wear, and I really can't recommend this for long gaming sessions, as it became uncomfortable almost instantly. But then there is the 370, which honestly is a lot better. It's still not the most comfortable headset on the market. Honestly, the ATX G1WLs are probably the best one I've found so far for me personally, but these do a great job of being comfortable, being a lot more a sort of a traditional headphone design. I don't need to have them fully extended, and they fit a lot better. So what's left then? Well, we should talk about the added features, starting off with the £300 option, the 670s. Now it is a wireless headset and uses a absolutely tiny USB dongle to connect to either a PC or PS4, has around 20 hours of battery life, give or take a few hours, and charges with a micro USB port on the bottom, which I would much rather have seen be a Type-C port for durability, but I suppose it works just fine. It does also have Bluetooth support, although it is a little bit of a different implementation than you might expect. Basically, as soon as the dongle gets plugged in, or the device that the dongle is connected to starts playing any audio, it will disconnect the device you were listening to via Bluetooth and switch over to the USB dongle, so there's no sort of multi-input support. On the 370s, you have a claimed 100 hours of battery life, which is frankly light years ahead of all of the competition and is honestly stunning to see. They say they've achieved that with better battery management and a larger battery, which is actually an incredible feat considering how light they are. They're actually 10 grams lighter than the Audio-Technica ATH-G1WLs, which are already an incredibly light set of headphones. Otherwise, they use a USB dongle to connect, still charged with a micro USB port, and besides an incredibly tiny and pretty cheap feeling power switch on the bottom, do have a nice volume sort of knob on the side of the ear cup to, well, control your volume. And I think that brings us nicely onto build quality. See, for the £300 they want for the 670 or the £170 they want for the 370s, you expect to get a good quality premium fuel headset with great materials and honestly something that just feels like it's gonna last you. Sadly, you don't really get that with either of these. Now, the 670 is definitely the worst offender here, with honestly very cheap feeling plastics, and it honestly feels like you could just snap it in half without even thinking about it, whereas at least on the 370s, they do use a slightly nicer plastic feel and actually feels a little bit more premium in the hand, which is good, but for the price points, you really don't get all that much. To give you a comparison, my ATH-G1WLs I keep talking about have a metal headband with literally a screwed-in pad on the top, and these still feel incredibly premium. I think the conclusion here is pretty obvious. I'm not a massive fan of these headphones. If you had to go and pick one of them, then I would hands down recommend you go and get the 370s, as not only are they almost half the price of the 670s, but they're also just much better at being headphones. They're more comfortable, they have the same listening experience and microphone, and with that 100-hour battery life, I really can't recommend them enough over the 670s. With that said though, at this sort of price range, I would generally recommend going for stuff like the ATH-G1WLs I keep talking about, or actually the Corsair Virtuoso I will soon have a review of, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. But otherwise, generally speaking, Sennheiser have done a good job of improving their product line from the 670s to the 370s, but I just think they have a little bit more to go before I can wholeheartedly recommend them. So with all of that said, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of Sennheiser's GSP headphone lineup, and especially their wireless offerings, and let me know what you think of them compared to the competition too. Otherwise, if you want to see more videos like this one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hit that subscribe button with the bell notification icon, especially if you want to see that Corsair Virtuoso review. Otherwise, there's also links to each of these in the description down below. It's an Amazon affiliate link that will take you to your local Amazon store where you can see pricing when and where you watch this, because it can and does vary. Also, if you want to support the channel in more ways than just subscribing and watching these videos, then do check out the rest of the links in the description down below. There's Amazon and Overclock's UK affiliate links that don't cost you anything to use but massively help me out when you do use them, or there's stuff like merch for hoodies or t-shirts like this one, or a load of other designs, and stuff like Streamlabs OBS if you want to start streaming, and a load of other stuff too. Otherwise, you can check out some more videos over there, maybe check out the review of the ATH-G1WLs, and otherwise, if you've got any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments, and we'll see you all in the next video.